Hey, Jake, can you throw me an ice-cold, refreshing Blue Mountain Coors Light?
No problem, RK. Coming right up.
Thanks. Darts only. Let's go. You know, sometimes you just have to laugh at this stuff.
I know, it's hilarious. Welcome to the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR, is DNVR Buffs Prime Time. I'm at the point now where it's just, I thank them for giving us these content ideas.
Dude, you know what hit me today? Is I was just sitting there and I was like, one day this era will be over. Hopefully it's as far as possible from now.
Yeah.
And we are going to be so bored.
Yes.
We're going to be so bored when we don't have the entire country dissecting every little thing we do, trying to start shit.
Yep.
And I'm sad in advance for that, but it's caused me to really enjoy what we're dealing with starting last night with that. I don't know. Do we want to get into that later or start with that? I guess it's right here in front of us.
Yeah, let's just start with that then, sure.
Dude, okay. So the Buffs put out the video of Shedeur throwing a dime. We talked. Did we talk about it on yesterday's show? Even?
I think we, not the cut and all that. I think we briefly mentioned the play.
Right.
But that was it. Right?
Okay, yeah. We talked about the play because it's the play that displayed Tyler Brown working at right tackle.
Yes.
Khalil Benson working at right guard. We're over here trying to digest some football. Yeah. You talking about how Shedeur gets to his backside read.
Yeah.
It's a out and up, which is obviously a long developing route that he hits LeJontay Wester on for a touchdown. It's great that he was protected for so long. Great throw, everything. Mm-hmm. What's funny is before the show, I talked to you about like the edit. I'm like, I don't know why they did this. I bet you someone somewhere is going to try and say that this isn't real.
Yeah.
And boy, did somewheres have a lot to say about that video. So the internet absolutely loses their mind saying that that is a fake video. Mm-hmm. And I don't know when and where to go to this point, but so I'll just go to it now. Before you make accusations like that, you have to ask yourself why. Why would Colorado and their football team account feel the need to doctor a video just to get a highlight out on Twitter?
Right.
Like the only, and these people would want to believe something like this, but the only thing I could think of that would make them do that is like, they're supposed to post one highlight a day and there were 0 highlights in practice. So they had to mix up different tapes to get like, that's the level of mental gymnastics you have to do to get to a point where you could think that Colorado would doctor that video. Mm-hmm. And I will be the first to admit, because there's a couple reasonable people who have entered my mentions or my DMs saying like, you have to admit the edit looked kind of weird. And I'm like, 100%. It looked kind of weird. It jumps. It wasn't necessarily the cleanest edit.
Right.
But again, you have to ask yourself before thinking that Colorado do that, why would they do that? If they really felt like they needed to post a highlight and they didn't have one from today, they could easily go back to like last year's fall camp or something,
right,
and pull a highlight, or from a couple days ago and pull a highlight,
or just TCU game highlights,
whatever. But the fact that people went through those mental gymnastics to think that Colorado would fake that, for what? Mm-hmm. For what? And that video is trending towards 10 million views.
Yep.
It's not like one, like, because it started with just like a couple like random fans online who are like, bro, this is edited. That's 2 plays spliced together.
Yep.
Now it got all the way to like national college football reporters are like, why would Colorado fake this video? What's going on here? Why did they do this?
Yep.
All the while, thank God there's a camera at damn near every 5 yards out there, because I think it came from either Reach the People or Well Off, the first angle we saw, where it was very clearly all one play, and you got the whole entire edit. But my God, this is the one where I'm just like, oh, they've officially lost it.
Yes. And pretty soon they're not going to have much to say either. It's going to be great. It is just hilarious, man. Again, I just can't help but laugh at it now. Like it doesn't even really bother me anymore at this point. It's just like, this is really where you guys have stooped to. You think we're editing practice clips for like social clout and likes?
What? And then, I mean, there's levels to this. There are people who are still out there saying the full video that was dropped is a different play than the original video. I mean,
it's crazy.
They've truly lost their minds. And like, it's what we see here with the Buffs is always a symptom of a larger problem that we have.
Yes.
Which is like education and media literacy and all of this stuff. But like, and then the other one, which I think is most at play here, not getting too deep in this, is paranoia. These people are like so paranoid that they're being tricked or like bamboozled at all times. They just live their lives walking around with like their radar up, trying to make sure that no one can trick them.
Yep. Or they're just secretly fans, because we know this stuff always appears on the top of their For You page on Twitter. They can't wait to comment on it. Like, it's like hyenas around like a carcass, basically. They just go crazy whenever they do anything.
Yes. So I'm hoping that CU now leans fully into this.
They should.
And just keeps doing it.
They should.
Posting like rough cut, jump cut clips that make it look like it's fake, because you'll keep getting people. It's just like, this team loves fishing. Let's go fishing.
Yep. Someone in the comments said this is going to start a trend. It's already happened.
Oh, it's on.
Arkansas football.
Yep.
I mean, who else? There was a lacrosse team that did it. I think it was Troy football did one. Maryland did one.
Big Ten did one with Nebraska.
This is basically the start of a meme.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. Like, I got a laugh out of the Arkansas one. Mm-hmm. To me, it's like, that's good social mediaing by their team.
I agree.
I don't think they're like jumping on the train saying that it was edited.
I agree.
They're just taking advantage of a thing that created a movement and saying, oh, we can do a bunch of engagement. And they were right. They did, tons and tons of engagement. I think that's just good on you. Mm-hmm. You were the first to it. It popped. They actually started it turning into a trend.
Right.
And, sometimes I think that our radars are so up ourselves, because of all the bullshit. Like the next thing that we're going to talk about is sometimes we stop, we kind of forget that like, oh, these things can just be funny.
Right.
That one to me was actually just funny.
No, I agree too. And Bucky tweeted the same thing. Like, it's just good, like timing. Like, you nailed like the kind of the humor of the joke, because it's like a flat, like pass over the middle, and then all of a sudden it's a bomb over the top. Like, obviously a joke, you know what I mean? So,
also, I would just like to say we had the idea for our cold open before the Arkansas.
Yeah, we did. Came out. Yes, we did. We had that this morning.
We got the receipts if anyone wants to call us on that.
My arm's still a little sore from that,
dude.
man.
All the way from Mile High to DNVR.
Yeah.
What a dart.
Thanks, man. Thinking about maybe starting my own, like what DC's doing, maybe a quarterback training company or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I do pretty
well. You rarely give him any props on this show, so I feel like you need to give your wide receiver a little props.
Yes, shout out to my brother. Shout out Austin. I mean, he caught the damn thing, and I tell you what, that was launched far. So
that was my first question to Jake when he showed me that video. I'm like, did you just throw that beer onto the ground? It's like, no, my brother caught it. So shout out Austin.
We also use this camera too, because I know that you don't like my phone camera for some reason. So
it's not some reason. And I used to have your phone too, so I understand why you have that phone. Yep. But it doesn't have the best camera.
Whatever.
It's intentionally small. So the camera is small.
It fits in my pocket. It's like a normal phone.
I loved that about it too. I did not like the fact that if I scrolled Twitter for more than like 4 minutes, it started to overheat.
It does. Yeah, sometimes I'll take it into like the sauna at the gym, and it's like I gotta like almost like keep it in my pocket so that doesn't get too hot or something. But yeah, the throw has gone viral now. I'm sure we're gonna see NFL teams doing stuff like this.
Yep.
Like, it's gonna be. We're just seeing the beginning of the darts only meme
for sure. And it's just as. First of all, well, this will actually go into something I'll talk about later. But the other thing I saw today was someone. You saw the clip of Coach Prime getting after the defense, saying,
"Yeah,
there's 6 scouts here."
Yes.
Someone was like, "Coach, this is just Coach Prime saying like." You need to play better so my sons look better to NFL scouts. It's like, first of all, what?
The mental gymnastics
Yes.
are incredible, man.
But then they said, then someone else was like, there's no way Colorado had 6 NFL scouts at a practice in fall camp on a Wednesday. And it's like, you're so far removed from reality. But again, Bucky in his video literally panned to each one of them. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw that one, but like, he shows them. It's like there's Falcons and there's Texans and there's Colts and there's Broncos and like
there's a clip of Travis literally shaking their hands, like Jonte shaking their hands.
Yes,
like,
Jimmy.
Yeah.
So people need to realize that when you have cameras out all the time, you always have receipts.
Yes.
Imagine like if you were in a relationship and there's always a camera around and you could just go back and pull receipts to see like. No, this is what I really said.
Yeah.
When you're arguing over semantics.
Yep.
That's like what it is for Colorado football. We can always go back and prove that what we're saying is true.
I guess a little bit of a transition here, but I never want to hear again that Colorado's irrelevant, that nobody cares, that, we're blowing this up, blah, 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 because what the quote unquote haters or anyone else who's just not like directly associated with the program or a fan, anything like this happens, they just blow it up. They go crazy.
Yeah.
I never want to hear it again.
I mean, we're by far the only team in the country in any sport at any level who could do 10 million views on a practice clip.
Yes.
Straight up.
Yep.
And most of it is people who have absolutely lost their damn minds. Mm-hmm. People that I like thought were normal.
That's the wild part to me. And we'll get into it more in the next segment too, but it's just like there are people that like are very notable that have done like real journalism, that do real reporting, that just run with some of the shit that comes from CU just because it's CU and they say whatever they want about it.
Yep. And then you've got like some guy posted the Athlon thing the first time it came out, and his tweet blew up, and people were like coming after him.
The Arizona guy, yes.
And yeah, I don't even know who it was. And then he's like, I just posted this because I thought it would be relevant to my followers. And it's like, excuse my language, earmuffs, get fucked.
Yeah.
You knew exactly what you were doing.
Of course. And he wasn't the only one from that beat doing that too, as well. So,
which clout chasing.
That's the definition of it right there.
Exactly.
Your team isn't producing enough headlines or isn't interesting enough for you to even send a Tuesday tweet about it, that you go find Colorado stuff and you know that you're going to do numbers on it. You're going to get some more money in your Twitter ad revenue account, all this stuff.
Yeah, and I guess we could save this for the next segue, but like if you are someone who shares this type of misinformation, you have to apologize too.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that in just a second here.
We will. And shout out to our friends over at Coors Light.
Coors Light, baby. Had a nice cold one right before the show.
Yes, sir.
Thanks to a nice little toss from you.
Yeah, man. If you're ever out tailgating and, throwing around the football, it goes over the fence, car runs over or whatever, just grab a Coors Light.
Amen.
It's got nice weight to it. I can attest to that. But seriously, if you guys want to chill, make the most out of the times you choose to chill with our friends at Coors Light. Come hang out with us at the DNVR bar. We're about to announce something for week 0 that's pretty cool, so you can come hang out with us then.
Yeah, that's announced.
Is it?
Yes, I saw it on Twitter.
So Saturday of week 0.
Yep.
Florida State. I can't remember who Florida
Georgia
State
Tech.
plays. So they play Georgia Tech, and we're going to do like a live show and have a giveaway.
Yes. First of all, go to DNVR Buffs Twitter right now, because if you retweet our post, you'll find it. It has a nice big graphic about the giveaway. If you retweet our post, follow Coors Light, follow us, and respond with your favorite buff, you have a chance to win 2 tickets to the season opener against North Dakota State. But even better, if you come to our event on that Saturday of week 0, we're giving away 9 more pairs of tickets.
Yep.
9 pairs.
Yep.
So obviously, you got to be in Colorado for that one. But we thought we would do one for anyone and everyone who's out there. So you can get on that one on Twitter, or you can come down, drink some Coors Lights with us here at the bar. And all of these tickets are coming from our friends at Coors Light.
Yep. So shout out to them. Choose Coors Light. Get it delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Speaking of things that we're going to announce soon, we might be paying more visits to Circle K soon.
Oh, I can't wait.
And you guys can keep an eye out for that. But more visits to Circle K is always a good thing. Whether you're looking for the best deal on gas or the best deal on snacks, you can do so and get an even better deal when you go to www.circlek.com/inner-circle to get in on the Inner Circle Rewards program. You can also scan the QR code that just popped up on the screen. Circle K is the best. We love them. They've done a lot to support us, and there's even more coming.
Cannot wait, man. It's going to be a hell of a season.
Yes, it is.
Are you good?
I'm good.
Okay. Guns out. It's GTA. He actually stood by this shit. So the Athlon, I'm not even going to say his name. The guy who wrote the piece for Athlon made an appearance on the Dan Le Batard show, a national big-time show, and stood by his article that accused Colorado of like brandishing guns, like gun violence. What else was it? It was like gambling, fights in the locker room.
Fights to have to prove your manhood.
Yeah, all this crazy stuff. The stuff that we talked about on Monday, right?
Yep.
But he goes on there and stands by it all and makes himself look like a total clown.
Well, and worse than standing by it, he tried to add things that ended up getting him caught completely red-handed, absolutely attempting to mislead people. And that's at the worst. At the best, it's just proving absolute ignorance.
Yep.
But he goes on there and he says, there's a video circulating of Bucky going around to the players asking which player is the most strapped, meaning who has the most guns.
Yep.
That characterization of that video could not be further from what is actually happening in the video. And having watched the full video now, I'm about 99% sure that this is intentional dishonesty rather than just ignorance of slang terms.
Yes.
Because in the video, which it's Darius, not Bucky, which leads into something else, but it's Darius who goes up to DJ McKinney, and he's talking to him. He's like, the offense said they're throwing bombs on you all day, which I guess there's bomb violence now in Colorado too. And then he says, but who's been getting strapped every day is Caleb Mathis. You should go talk to Caleb Mathis. So then Darius goes over to Caleb Mathis. He says to him, the defense said you're getting strapped up, and you're getting the award for most strapped on the team.
Yep.
Caleb, of course, denies it. This is so obviously talking about football.
Yeah, the strap,
Yes.
like covering another wide receiver.
And even DJ does that. He says, who's getting strapped?
Yeah.
Absolute insanity to try and take that video and say that is about who on the team has the most guns. And again, I have a really hard time believing that's just, sorry, I didn't know the slang term for getting clamped. Well, I guess it's another slang term. For getting covered.
Yeah.
I didn't know. That's my bad. I misinterpreted it. Nah, to me, that's intentional dishonesty.
There's racism involved too, I think.
Oh, I was going to get there.
Okay, we'll save it then. But this guy is insane. So this is a quote from him going on Dan Le Batard today. He said, I saw a video of Dion and Travis fishing, and there's a gun in plain sight. There's a picture of Seaton bruised and lip busted.
Where?
I don't know. If that's not true, then say it's not true. I'm confident in my reporting. So this guy takes clips from outside of the locker room when Travis and Coach are fishing, which, look, I've never been fishing, but I know like a lot of people when they go fishing, they bring a gun.
Yep.
A picture of Seaton, not in the locker room.
But where is this picture? Have you seen it?
I don't know what he's talking about. And then he stands by it, and then he goes on to also talk about, you know, if they don't want to refute my reporting, then they should come out and say that. First off, they did.
Oh, he also says no one ever refuted the thing about Shedeur's concert.
Which, just not paying attention.
I mean, that was refuted unequivocally.
Yes. And then he goes on to say, you know, well, they just thought it was funny. They start making content around it and all this. It's like, they're making fun of you, bro. Do you not realize this? Like, how stupid
I touched a nerve.
Yeah, that's what he said.
And look, honestly, when you the more you boil this down, to me, the grosser it gets. Because you have a white reporter here,
yes,
trying to paint a picture of a group of young black men who live in a predominantly white area that they are thugs. That is exactly what the picture that he's trying to paint, with absolutely no evidence other than a video with a gun inside of a private residence.
Yes.
And a video of players talking about who gets covered the most.
Yeah.
And so none of these guys have been convicted of crimes in Boulder. In fact, Coach Prime shared a story about how the Boulder police told him that they're doing an amazing job and the way that they're carrying themselves is better than it's been in years past. So to me, it's incredibly gross and very, very racist to try and paint this picture that these guys are thugs with no evidence to support that.
It's incredibly racist and it's ignorant. And it's just a lot of projecting. Like, he's not even really reporting, first off. Like, and he's not doing his due diligence at all, because he didn't actually go and like see those videos of the cops, the Boulder police coming in to talk and just, you know, kind of build up the Colorado football program and how far it's come under Coach Prime, basically. He's just like pissing in the wind in terms of all that. He just doesn't care, literally just trying to find any angle to target the players, to target the coaches, target the program. And the more he does it and the more he backs it up, it just sounds like he's just racially motivated.
And it does. And the worst part about this to me, Jay, because I'd like to just like laugh and say, this is so dumb, this is so silly, it's obviously false. The worst part about this is there are people out there who believe this. And, you know, I hope it's not, you know, people who live in Boulder, but it's like you're intentionally trying to like sow seeds of doubt within the community that these players live in about the people's safety and things like that. And that is like an incredibly dangerous path to start trudging down. And so as much as we can come on here and try to discredit the claims and stuff like that, there are going to be people out there who just listen to Dan Le Batard. And they're not even on Twitter. And so they heard this on Dan Le Batard today. And as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I know, Dan Le Batard hasn't yet issued a retraction or an apology, though they did tweet out the clip of him saying there's a clip of the guy saying they're strapped, in which I quote tweeted with the actual clip from Darius's video. The Dan Le Batard show retweeted my quote tweet destroying their guest and then deleted their tweet of their guest. So it's clear that they have their own seeds of doubt now about the quality of guests that they brought on the program. But as far as I know, they haven't yet issued a retraction or an apology. So there's people that are going to hear that on that show and, you know, go talk amongst themselves at community spots. There's people that saw the original tweet and didn't notice that it was deleted who believe it. There's people who read the story and believe that. And so as much as, you know, you or I or Coach Prime or anyone can go out here and try and say this isn't true, someone somewhere might not even ever get that message, or they just want to believe it's true. And so, like I said, I want to be able to just sit here and be like, well, haha, like, these people are idiots. I can't believe they're falling for this, blah, blah. It's actually dangerous, and it's everyone, not just who did the reporting, like this guy from Athlon, but it's also the people who shared the reporting. It's also the Dan Le Batard show for having this guy on as a guest who has no reason for anyone to believe that he's credible. And giving him a platform to blast this out to more and more people. And it's really upsetting.
It really is. And And it's kind of just discouraging, and the state of sports media, the state of social media and journalism in general, honestly. But and there was a part in the interview today where Dan asks the writer from Athlon, you know, did you reach out to comment for CU? And he says, no, they didn't actually comment and all this stuff. Like, he tries to like go through and like vet the reporter on his reporting, and there's no like concrete evidence or anything to back it up. It's just, I talked to players, one thing led to another, and it just built on top of it. Well, what does that mean?
And he specifically mentions that he didn't specifically reach out to the players that were mentioned in the story, like Caleb Mathis.
Right
then and there, it's like, that's journalistic malpractice.
Yes.
You at least have to reach out and say, hey, I'm working on a report in which a former teammate of yours alleged that you did this. Would you like to comment?
Or, I mean, he talks to so many former players. Get a quote from Savion Washington, please. Like, something like to give this any type of credibility if this is what you're going to report and stand by.
And then he uses the no comment, like, from Colton Allen's dad.
Right.
To try to, like, you know, prove that something is real. It's just, I guess, in the end, it's very, very clear that even if this guy got like one or two little crumbs of something that actually happened, he then took that and tried to roll it out into something much larger. And to me, he got caught red-handed with there's a video circulating of the players talking about who's the most strapped. Like, that is getting caught red-handed, and once again, underestimating the CU community, who went and dug up that video in about 5 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was Chris Johnson on Twitter who had it first. And then I went and found, you know, because it was a cold open to one of Darius's videos that had a little bit. And then I went and found the full context of it, which was much longer and even more obvious. But it's like, you can't just go out there and say this shit. And he says, oh, the Jordan Seaton photo came to me after I published the article, or else it would have been in there. You've got platforms.
Yeah, what the hell?
Come on, let's see it. And I'm not even necessarily saying that it doesn't exist. But you have to, like, the burden of proof is on you.
Yes. If you're going to put this out there, like, you have to back it up.
Exactly.
Jimmy Horn actually said something about it today. He tweeted out a clip of Folsom Frenzy tweeted out the clip of the Athlon guy talking on Dan Le Batard. Jimmy quote tweeted it, said, just now seeing this, what in the hell dude talking about? I don't be on here like that, but folks just be saying anything for attention. Gots to be the overly bored in the name of Jay West with the crying, laughing emoji. There's a player saying something directly there, Steve. Like,
refuting it.
Yeah. You could just reach out to guys like that if you want, but
no, because then you're not going to get your clicks, and you're not going to get your attention, and you're not going to have shows like the Dan Le Batard show calling you up to put you on their platform so that your irrelevant ask can get a little bit of play.
Yep. It's unfortunate, man. There's going to be a lot more of this, I'm sure. But, hopefully this guy has learned his lesson at least a little bit. Doubt it, though.
No. He was validated, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's another unfortunate part about that, too.
Yeah, because he got all the attention he wanted. I did have to laugh at Dan Le Batard's, like, accidental or on purpose dig at Athlon Sports. He's like, do you think this would be getting more national play if you didn't work for Athlon Sports? I'm like, damn. Cooked.
Oh, hilarious.
I think it would get more play if it was written by someone who had any shred of credibility. Yep. But anyone with a shred of credibility would have done more work and realized that they don't have a story.
Yep. But once again, said it on Monday, this is just another guy who lives across the country. He doesn't come to Boulder. He doesn't cover the Buffs. He has no real sources within the program, obviously. He doesn't try to talk to actual players or anyone associated with the program. And I wouldn't be surprised if all of this is practically made up, if he had an agenda that he just wanted to perform, really.
Yeah. I thought Matt H. had a great tweet. He said, Coach Prime doesn't even allow phones in meetings or the cafeteria. You think he's allowing guns in lockers?
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It really is insane. All right, we'll table it for now. And shout out to our friends over at Toyota. You want to tell people about your Toyota?
I love my Toyota so much. Got me here today. Gets me here most days, except for the days when Jake drives me.
Yes, sir.
But best car I've ever owned. I mean, honestly, by far. And I've owned a few, not a lot, but I've owned a few. Toyota does laps around all of my other cars. Can't thank them enough for their customer service. Can't thank them enough for the quality of my vehicle. And you guys got to go down and find the nearest Front Range Toyota store to you, including AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corbin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood, and Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora. Toyota, proud partner of CU Athletics and the official vehicle of DNVR and RK.
Sid says, is this considered slander? It's beyond slander, brother. This is, I don't know. I don't even know what I'd use to describe it. But shout out to our friends at Bet365. They are seriously my favorite book to bet on out here in Colorado. I love the early money line payouts, especially for college football. If you bet on a big favorite against the spread and they get up by 21 points or more, if you bet on their money line and they get up by 21 points or more, that automatically cashes even if the other team comes back to beat them in regulation and overtime, whatever. Same thing with the NFL as well. So you can sign up with code DNVR365, deposit $10 to cash in on the bet and get offer. All you need to do from there is place a bet of $5 or more. Once that bet clears, if it hits or misses, you'll get $150 in bonus bets instantly into your account. You must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Jake, I need you to kill some time for me for a second. I might have some breaking news as it relates to what we were just talking about.
Interesting. All right. Should I go into the next segment?
Go ahead.
Well, I can hit something real quick here, actually. Yesterday, Evan Haynes committed to North Carolina, and already today, the Buffs seem to be, they're at least listed in the top 5, but they are in on 2025 four-star wide receiver Andrew Marsh. He released the top 5 just about an hour ago that included Washington, Texas, USC, Michigan, and Colorado. He's a 6'1", 175-pound wide receiver from Katy Jordan High School in Fulshire, Texas. On the composite, he is ranked the 58th overall player, 8th wide receiver. He is a 4-star. He does have a crystal ball to Michigan. He officially visited them on June 21st, but he has listed Colorado in his top 5. I'm not seeing an official visit or any visit to Colorado yet, so who knows how close they are for Andrew Marsh's commitment, but he said he will commit on the 20th. So that's the next wide receiver we are looking for.
Never mind. False alarm.
False alarm. Your thoughts on CU going after another big-time wide receiver?
I mean, you can never have enough. You can never have too many. And the thing about these is wide receivers, you can find good ones pretty easily these days. Mm-hmm. But you basically just want to take as many flyers as you can on finding a great one. And there's a big difference there.
Yes.
So, it almost feels like every single college team has good receivers now. But you basically, try to bring in as many highly rated wide receivers, hoping that a couple of them are going to pop and be stars.
So the chat is saying he did visit a while ago. I don't see it in his timeline, so it might have been an unofficial visit. I'll search on Twitter and see. Someone said last season. So he might have been one of the players that visited for, one of the many players who visited for a game last year. But August 20th is the date for him. But let's talk about this. Jordan Reed from ESPN wrote an article a few days ago titled 2025 NFL Draft, Scouts on Colorado Quarterback Shedeur Sanders.
I'm going to let you bask in this one.
Oh, man, this was great. This was so good. So we'll get to that part, but he starts off the article. What do scouts like about Shedeur Sanders' game? This is from an NFC area scout that covers the West Coast. He said, watching that Oregon game, he didn't have a chance behind that group. There are some things that come with him, but I believe he has a chance to be special if he matures in some areas. Another NFC scout said when going back to Shedeur's sophomore season at JSU, it was tough to get a feel for how good he was because they were just better than everybody else in that conference. We all were eager to see him perform on the FBS level, and we got a snapshot of it last year. And then an AFC area scout said he's not afraid of the moment and welcomes those instances when they need him to make a play. I'm just going to go to the good part here, though. Which current/former NFL players are Sanders' best comp?
Who could it be?
An NFC North area scout passionately said when explaining why he thinks Sanders resembles the 2020 number 1 overall pick,
Joe Burrow.
Let's go.
Well, Jake, that's just the most insane take I've ever heard in my life.
He can't throw 60 touchdown passes in a year. 2019 LSU was one of the greatest teams of all time. Colorado went 4-8 last year. Anyways, on the actual comp, he said he's Burrow because they're just never phased in those high-pressure situations, and he plays with swag. Does Sanders have plenty to clean up? Sure, but that type of calming presence is why Joe came to the AFC, and it didn't take him long for him to experience success. Other names that were mentioned are names that we have talked about also: Geno Smith, Tyrod Taylor. On Geno Smith, I don't have a quote there, but another AFC executive said, Tyrod's stability is why he's continued to stay in the league forever. I'm not saying the kid will be a 6th-round pick like Taylor was, though. Which NFL teams could be in play for Sanders and where's his best fit? Teams that are mentioned: the Las Vegas Raiders, the New York Giants, the Dallas Cowboys. And that's it for right now.
The Joe Burrow comp thing is so funny because somehow it got like pinned on you. But like in that conversation, Dre and I both agreed with you.
I know.
You've said it many times even before that time. I've always thought it was a good comp. It's, a guy who does a great job of reading the field, a little bit, more athletic than he probably gets credit for, can extend plays, has that dog in him, not afraid to stand in there and take a hit. All of those things added up well to Joe Burrow. And this 60 touchdowns obviously is insane. But I legitimately think that Shedeur could have a, eye-popping stats this year.
Yeah, that's what I said too. I literally said, I don't think he's going to throw 60 touchdowns, but I think he could have a senior year explosion just like Joe Burrow did.
Yes.
In terms of stats, for sure. I don't know what number you want to put on it, but he threw 27-3 last year while being behind one of the worst offensive lines in college football. We've talked about this a ton. If
the number I've had in my mind is 40.
Yeah.
I think that he can get around that number, and can he get more for sure?
But that puts him in potential Heisman conversation if you have a stat line like that this year, which again Joe Burrow also did. And then it also puts him, and he's already right now in number 1 overall pick talks, which Joe Burrow went number 1 overall.
And then, you had DC backing you up, saying he liked that comp for Shedeur.
Shedeur himself said it, too.
Yeah, Shedeur himself said it. Speaking of, there are some funny moments on the second episode of Shedeur's podcast.
Oh, it was so good, man.
Dude.
It was so good.
I have a feeling it's going to make people mad, but what doesn't at this point? The story about Shedeur and Shiloh fighting over the $100 bill that Coach Prime gave them.
Yes.
And he goes, "Here, I'll fix this," rips it in half and gives each one of them half of it. That's incredible stuff.
Cannot recommend that episode enough. Just hearing the guys talk, they're just, as brothers, just hanging out, talking about, life, football, coach, obviously, all this stuff. But it was fantastic.
And you said it about the first episode, but I feel it about this one as well. I'm not trying to act like our job is hard. It's not. Right. We talk about sports for a living. It's pretty easy, actually. But not everyone can sit in front of a mic and guide a conversation.
Yeah.
That part actually does take a skill. Shedeur has the skill.
Yes, he does.
So I was impressed by that.
Yep.
He moves it along. He does a good job of, getting from point A to point B in conversations. Yep. I don't know if we're seeing live ad reads yet. That's what I want from Shedeur next.
Yeah. He needs to get the transitions knocked down.
Yeah, exactly.
But one of the parts that I want to talk about, Shiloh or Shedeur, I can't remember who, asked Bucky, where do you think we'll end up, NFL wise? And Bucky threw out there Vegas for Shedeur and then Dallas for Shiloh.
I think it could be. I've been standing on this for a while. I don't know if I was the first one to it, but at the time I thought I was the first one to the Cowboys move on from Dak and find a way to draft Shedeur.
Yeah.
I really think that if Jerry Jones had his way, that's the way this goes.
Yep.
But the part that Louise mentions right here, I think,
Yes.
was the most notable, and it's why I even started thinking about the podcast, because we were just talking about Shedeur's stats from last year, talking about how he worked on his footwork. That was his big thing this summer, is to work on his footwork, because last year he felt like his footwork took a step back, as anyone's would when you've got PTSD, as he described it, from getting hit in the mouth by 270 to 300 pound guys over and over. And I think, honestly, in that video from yesterday, he was making this whole thing go full circle, which was a fantastic play by Shedeur. His footwork in that was very sound.
Yeah.
And we said it yesterday, reminded me of, Tom Brady's. Dropping back, feeling the pocket collapsing a little bit from the back, stepping up, pausing, throwing the ball down the field.
And he's exactly right, though. Like when he was talking about, when that happens to you and the line actually does block it up well, and you're back there and you're thinking, oh, I should probably have the ball out right now, but I don't have pressure going on. Like there's just a lot going on in his head last year because of the pressure he was facing. And then he also spoke about the offensive line, like talking about, and he said it on our show at the Super Bowl as well, but he's like, that's why I never blame them, is like, they're out there trying. It's not like they're out there trying to get Shedeur killed. Like they are out there trying. It's just they didn't have the ability to block a lot of the guys they went up against. So it's like you can't really fault them with that, because they are out there trying to do their job, trying to block. It's just that the guys they were going up against were that much better than them.
Yep. And can you imagine if Shedeur improves that part of his game this year? I mean, again, I never blamed him for it last year, but there was times when he just felt like he had to get out of there.
Yes.
And he got out, and a lot of times he did get out of there and he made plays with his feet. But if he can do a little bit better job of being patient in the pocket this year and, delivering balls down the field, again, that 40 number, maybe even more, starts to be a real possibility. And I think one of the things that people forget about the most, especially because there's a lot of NFL fans who then come watch college football, these guys are still kids.
Yep.
They're still learning. They're still developing. In the NFL, you kind of hope a guy develops in his first 2 years, and if he doesn't, you kind of just give up on him.
Right.
In college, these guys are still on a linear growth path.
Yes.
And so I'm expecting Shedeur to take another step forward this year, as he has done every year of his career.
Yep. Completely agree with you there, man. Yeah, add me to the list of Broncos fans who would be just sick if Shedeur becomes a Raider.
I can't even allow myself to start going down that road, just because if he's not already, Shedeur will go down as my favorite CU quarterback ever.
Right.
And him going to my least favorite team ever would be very hard. The Chiefs are, the current most hated, but in terms of my life as an NFL fan, the Raiders are my number one.
Yep. I mean, I'd probably put the Chiefs number one as most hated, but yeah, Raiders are number two probably.
But that only is in the last 7 years.
No, it started for me in 2004. The Dante Hall return against the Broncos, where there were blatant blocks in the back.
Yeah, I remember it.
That's when it started for me.
But back then, it was like the Chiefs were kind of irrelevant. That game, they were. I think both teams were 6-0 going into that game.
Yep.
But they were never competing for AFC West division titles nearly as much as the Raiders were.
Right. No, I get you. And then the Peyton years too, just all the talking from Chiefs fans about, Alex Smith and the Chiefs, we're going to win the division.
Yeah,
it's shut up, man. Stop.
Yep.
Whatever. Someone else mentioned it in the chat. Daniel Graham at practice yesterday.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Just talking to the tight ends, really he was coaching them up, just being like, this is what you got to do to be great. The tight end position is a unique position. Talking about, kind of anticipating the snap count a little bit, just because the snap count and getting a free release from that position is just such a game changer. Just a lot of great stuff from him, and another CU legend coming back.
Absolutely. And, I loved what he was saying about blocking, because people that follow Daniel Graham's NFL career would not know, because his NFL career, he was an extra tackle, essentially.
Yeah.
He went out there and he just mauled. You got to go back and see some of his college tape, man. He was a hell of a receiver in college. He has a great touchdown catch, at least one, in the 62-36 Nebraska game. But he was a weapon. I mean, you don't win the Mackey Award by blocking. It helps for sure, but you got to put up numbers, and he did through the air. So it's like, this is a guy who had done both. I mean, a true all-around tight end in college.
Yep.
And coming to them and really preaching the idea of blocking and how that's going to get you to the next level was big.
So first, I think like pro football, just like notable pro football, I guess, guest to come to practice, even though he's a CU alum.
Yeah.
So far. Can't think of anyone else that's come through.
Nope. Speaking of, though, the guy that everyone's been asking if he had showed up.
Oh,
Adalius Thomas.
yes. Yeah, so we got word from Neely 2 days ago?
Or yesterday.
Yesterday or 2 days ago. I can't remember who was asking, but
A lot of people were asking if he was back. He's back with the staff.
he is there. Yeah, he has showed up. He's with the staff. So, I mean, that's 3 pros coaching Colorado's defensive front right now.
Big time.
Former pros. All right, chat. We appreciate all the thumbs up, but if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
This feels like a day where we need at least 500 likes.
We got to crank that up. And we'd appreciate your reviews on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify also. Give us a 5-star review. Questions. What do you guys got for us today? There's quite a lot to talk about. Yes, 414J. Did the team practice today? Yes, the team practiced today.
But not really, right?
What do you mean?
You keep answering questions, I'll look.
Okay.
If anything, it was a light practice.
Yeah, so you will get a video from Well Off and from Reach the People, I'm sure. But yes, there was practice. Dave asked, before we stop talking about wide receiver, can we talk about how strong Shep's hands are? He had 2 catches in that Well Off that were all hands. Unreal. Yeah, man, he's a really, really good player. And kind of like when we were talking about yesterday, he's just been as advertised, honestly.
They did not practice today.
Okay, so they did not practice today.
Just meetings.
So an off day for the guys. I mean, today would have been day 9?
Yeah.
And that's all within a week and a half, basically, that they've been practicing. So
Yep.
A well-earned day off. But, yeah, Shep has really been impressing at camp. So very encouraging to see. Again, as advertised.
Absolutely.
Travis says, I already have season ticks. Y'all giving away game ticks.
No, not yet. Not yet, at least. And it's not us. It's Coors Light who's giving those away.
Yeah.
But they're using us as a vehicle for the giveaway. Shout out Coors Light.
Shout out to Coors Light.
Also, someone earlier said we put the cold in cold open.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
I mean, the best part about today is I've got 6 more Coors Lights in my fridge now.
Let's go.
Kyron asks, was Washington and Seaton ever even in the same locker room? Hadn't Washington hit the portal already by the time Seaton came in? No. So this is actually something also that I've seen. They were together, guys, for spring football. Savion didn't enter the portal till April 15th.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan, of course, was an early enrollee. He was there in January. So, yeah, they were there.
Word.
Heaven's Demon says, we lose 3 of our top wide receivers this season, right? So why not? I'm assuming you're talking about Andrew Marsh. Yeah, so Shep is gone for sure. LeJonte's gone for sure. Travis is gone for sure. I think Jimmy's out of eligibility after this year as well. But yeah, you've got pieces in Timmons, Michael, Miller, Mathis, and again, you got Quinnell coming in. You know they're going to recruit more guys, and you know they're going to hit the portal as well. So yeah, you freaked everyone out with your breaking news.
I know. Sorry, it wasn't my fault.
Okay.
But unlike some people, I was given a piece of information, so then I did some research to see if that piece of information was true. And it turned out the information was not true. So then I didn't say it.
What an insane concept. You sure you're not going to write about it later?
Yes. Yeah, I will not be writing about that false information, unlike some.
Scotty says, bigger question mark / concern for this team. Who's behind Seaton at left tackle or the tight end group? Left tackle is Phillip Houston's working at tackle. Kareem Harden's working at tackle. And as we've been talking about, they've been kind of cross-training the O-line guys. So I think I saw Khalil Benson taking reps at left tackle. And then you've also got guys like They're listed as guards right now, but Peyton Kirkland and Zach Owens as well.
Yep.
So there's pieces there. Tight end, it'd be Savell Smalls, Morgan Pearson, and then Charlie Williams.
Yeah. I heard Morgan Pearson get a shout out in a video.
He did.
Just like in the, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Lexus Grant says, y'all think Tyler or Benson should be right tackle? Whoever the best right tackle is, honestly. I know that's not a great answer, but.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down with either. If I had to choose, I think I would go Tyler.
I think so.
But I think both of them can do a good job. I think mindset-wise, Tyler has the mindset of more of a tackle, and Khalil has the mindset more of a guard.
And I think Tyler can be a little bit more smooth, especially in his lower body in terms of movements and mirroring. So, and this is more of an NFL type thing, but if Tyler has the length in his arms to block the edge rushers, then why not put him at tackle?
Well, and that's part of this. I mean, again, at the NFL, I am guessing he'd probably be moved back to guard at the NFL level.
I guess depending on what his arm measurements are.
Yes, but it's not quite like that in college.
No,
where there's like requirements. Oh, you got to have your arms this long because the guys are this big. Like the Big 12 doesn't really have many star pass rushers.
Nope. And like, God, who's the guy at Arizona? Jordan Morgan just went in the first round. He had under 34-inch arms. He's playing tackle, and we've started to see it more and more. Rashawn Slater, going to the Chargers, he was a very high draft pick a few years ago. He was under 34-inch arms. And this is something we talked about on the draft pod a lot recently, too, is does the 34-inch like benchmark even really matter anymore? Because they're just finding guys who are great at mirroring, have great feet, and can just move at the tackle position to play in the NFL. So
draft Twitter's talking a lot about whether or not inches matter.
Yeah. As they always have, yes.
Okay, cool.
Mr. Support Friend asks, which team do you think will draft Travis?
The Broncos.
Yeah, hell yeah. It's going to be a bad football team that drafts Travis because he's going top 3, top 5.
Good news for the Broncos. Yeah. They're bad.
Although, we're starting to get some Bo Nix hype.
I hope, man. I just want to like see them do some cool stuff.
Me too, man. Patty asks, what do y'all think about Sean Payton talking about sacks are more on the quarterback than the O-line? Watching 2 last year, it seems he held on the ball too long. Most snaps looking for the big play. Always thinks. You want to go first?
What do you think about Sean Payton talking about? I don't think that you can ever put a blanket statement on this stuff. Each play exists individually.
Yes.
I think there's a combination of CU's O-line being bad last year, the O-line being bad causing them not to be able to run the ball at all, then in turn forcing Shedeur to try to play a little bit of hero ball because he was the offense. Remember we were talking week 4 or 5. What's this team's identity?
Yep.
The identity was just, please, Shedeur, do something sick.
Yep.
And so he tried and tried and tried and tried. And a lot of times he made those plays. Think about USC. Scrambles out of the pocket, runs back, throws across his body, touchdown to Omarion Miller in the back of the end zone. Other times he wasn't able to make those plays. Like the game we don't talk about, 4th down. He scrambles around, is forced to throw it away, gets an intentional grounding. So there's certainly going to be plays. I mean, I remember a play in that same game where it's like he was sacked damn near before he even caught the ball.
Right.
That's not on him.
Yeah.
Each one exists in a vacuum, and I think last year's issues were compounded by all of those factors joining together.
Exactly. There were definitely plays last year where Shedeur held the ball too long and took some sacks he probably could have avoided. But then, like he talked about in his podcast yesterday, you go to the UCLA game, I mean, the guy barely even had a second on some snaps.
That was bad.
I mean, he was just under siege. Like, that's not on Shedeur.
Yeah.
So it's a balance. It's a play-by-play basis, especially when you have, what was the number, 58 sacks or whatever it was last year. Like, they weren't all on Shedeur. They weren't all on the offensive line.
But the issues compound each other.
Yes. Yes.
And I think what started the compounding was the struggles of the offensive line.
Smoothie asks, who is the true number 2 quarterback? Because Dominique Ponder is really starting to make some plays in camp, and his His fan base is growing by the day.
Yeah, man. We don't know. We haven't heard a lot. This fall camp's a little different. I remember last year we were kind of getting some more depth chart updates, stat updates. It's been a little quieter on that front this year out of fall camp, at least from our perspective. But Dominic Ponder definitely making some sick throws out there, which you just love to see. Nice to have, a guy with all the tools out there making big throws.
Yep.
The hard thing for all of us is it's just almost impossible to evaluate practice based off of 20 plays a day we get to see between well off for each of the people and whatever highlights CU puts on their Twitter.
Yep.
So he looks great. All I know is that coming into camp, Ryan Staub was definitely the leader.
Far and away.
Yeah, at that position. But who knows? Maybe Ponder has jumped in there.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really say right now. I kind of lean to what the comment on the stream from Kaimo says is Staub is the guy until Ponder makes a stronger push, I feel, just because of what we saw from Staub last year.
Well, and you should also remember Ryan Staub's going up against the number 1 defense.
Yes, that too.
Ponder's going up against the threes. That doesn't take away. He's still making plays, which is what you want to see.
Yep.
But when you're the number 2 quarterback, you got to go up against the number 1 defense, which means there's probably going to be less highlights of you coming out.
But like you said, Ponder just physically is very impressive. Big arm too.
Yep.
And an athlete. So the tools are all there. It's just a matter of him kind of putting it together and just flat out beating Staub.
Rooting for all of them.
Definitely.
Hope we don't see them.
Yeah, exactly. We hope we don't see either.
I'd like to see them in week 1, week 2, and week 3, actually.
Taking kneel downs.
Yes, or handing it off in the fourth quarter.
All right, on to Super Chats. The Cape Crusader says, I find it honestly strange how there's so much outside hate on Colorado. It feels like it's gotten way worse this year, but why, though? Serious question. It has gotten worse this year.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about the racial element a lot on this show, and I think it always exists. I think there's also something to people who were mad that Colorado got a bunch of attention last year, and then didn't end up, winning anything meaningful. So now when they get attention again, it bothers those people. What's crazy is these people have talked themselves into things about this team that are going to make them feel really stupid later because of what happened last year. So I think there's a few things at play. In the end, I think the most common one I don't know what the most common one, but jealousy I think is a big part of it. People are mad at all the attention they get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're spot on, man. I mean, I can't explain it, honestly. It's racially charged. There's just pure hate involved, jealousy, envy, I don't know, all those words.
Yeah.
Another one from the Cape Crusader says, Colorado should sue the living hell out of the Athlon sports guy. Cardi B sued some YouTube blogger for making up lies on her for $1 million and won the case. Obviously, this isn't about money. It's just about the truth at this point, but... I mean, this guy has gone well out of his way to make very wrong points about Colorado, and there should be some recourse.
And like I said, this has gone beyond people who say Shedeur has no chance to go in the first round, and it's just blind hate.
Yeah.
This is, like I said, trying to sow seeds of doubt about the quality of men these players are.
Yep.
And trying to sow seeds of doubt in the community about who Coach Prime is and who these players are, and it's nasty work.
East Coast Kev, what's up, man? With another super chat. Coach Prime is strict about the color of socks his players wear. Somehow I don't see weapons in the equation. Coach doesn't even allow cell phones in the lunchroom or meetings. Weapons, I don't know, with the shrug emoji. You're spot on, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he nailed it. We've said our piece.
I'm trying to decide if I want to include personal experience here, but...
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
All I would say is that I'm very confident that there's not weapons being tossed around in the locker room.
Yep. Baron asks, or says, if Shedeur is like Burrow, which of our receivers are Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Terrace Marshall comps? So we've already said, or I've already said at least, the way Travis moves kind of reminds me of Justin Jefferson. How he runs his routes, just how I don't even know the word. I guess the agility that he has, to just stop on a dime and explode.
Yep.
That's very Justin Jefferson-like, I think.
He's kind of a mix, though, because, like, is Justin Jefferson as lethal in the open field as Travis? Like his bag of moves?
Like true, like open field tackling in a phone booth? I don't think so. I think Travis is better there.
So that's like another, you have to kind of draw another comp. I think Justin Jefferson's one of the best route runners ever. So he probably has Travis in that category.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of leaping ability and going up and getting the ball, I think they're very similar in that.
Yes.
I don't think there's a comp for Travis.
I mean, he's a unicorn. So definitely. There's not a comp for Jamar Chase on this roster, honestly. I'll just flat out say that. He was pretty incredible himself. And I don't think that we have a receiver that has that combination of size, speed, and just ability in their bag right now. But they're obviously trying to recruit guys like that. I mean, they were all over Ryan Wingo last year. They've been going after big-time wide receivers. It's only a matter of time, honestly. And then Terrace Marshall, that's another big guy, too. Maybe Will Sheppard for Terrace, but I think Will's got a little bit more to his game than Terrace did. Is that it? Oh, man. What a show.
70 away from 500 likes.
Hit that like button. We will be back tomorrow.
Do you think that there will be something crazy viral that we have to talk about tomorrow?
I think we get a day off tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
It's going to be Friday because Coach Prime speaks Friday and we have Media Day Friday.
Oh, man.
Something's going to come out. Coach is going to be asked something, and that's going to be it.
I have a feeling Coach Prime is going to be on one on Friday.
I hope he is.
I hope so, too.
Cannot wait. Media Day Friday. We all have that to look forward to. Big week coming up. Lots of stuff going on.
Appreciate all of you guys for being in here. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Appreciate all your support all the time. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.